live in all of the places. Okay, so, oh my goodness. Y'all, breathe with me. It has been a decade, and you would think that a decade of me, sorry, if you're new to me, welcome, Kiera Jones from 𝐘𝐿 It's been a decade of me building my personal brand. I've been full-time in my personal brand in my coaching company for 8.5, I guess maybe almost 9 years, but 8.5 years. And it's been so beautiful being able to work with over 2,000 women on their messaging and stepping into the next level of how they position and present their work, right? Because I'm so passionate about women no longer giving their expertise away for pennies, less than what it's worth. And a big way that women do that is in the way that they articulate, or the lack thereof, around what they do. And not just when you're new. We think that when we're working on our messaging, it's the new, roll your eyes, who's my ideal client? You know, all the demographics. But I love that I get to support my clients and going even deeper and talking to their next level clients and positioning themselves for their next level rates. I was literally on with a client of mine. She just had an amazing win. She has a couple different programs in her business model. We went through it last week. She's in a member of, and simplifying it. And we got it from like 8 different things to 2. There's 2 main things. That's it. Like, why are we overcomplicating it? And she has programs at multiple, let's see, hello Wave, say hi everybody. She has programs in multiple different price points, and so we were actually just coaching her through a program that she has that's $36,000. She's just signed a client into this particular package last week, and so we were just going over some other things because she has some more sales, you know, enrollment conversations. So this is what I want to talk about. So with all that being said, I am putting out something that I can feel deeply in every part of my body. Every program I've ever created, so there's over 40 different programs at this point over the last 10 years, is my baby. But this one feels different, y'all. So as much as I've done thousands and thousands of videos online and all the things, spoken on stages, been on podcast episodes, like in interviews and different things, this one feels so different. And I'm asking God, like, what feels different? Has there ever been something in your industry that you wanted to redefine? Something that you wanted to put your mark on, something that just didn't feel right in your spirit, in your industry? That's how I feel about re-message. Re-message is not you starting over. It's not you as a newbie. It's not a course. Re-message is something that is so much deeper. It's about redefining what messaging has been inside of the industry for you as an experienced woman, as someone who knows what she's doing. There's no question about that. But there's this next level of not only the next level of your prices and the next level of your offers. That's a part of this. We're going to be going into that because if you don't know, Kiera does a mix of mindset and strategy. But I'm talking about a next level of who you have become. And for a lot of my clients, we've always done mindset work around who you've become and like how does that equate in your business. But it just feels so different. I feel like God has had me on this personal journey over the last couple of years. And it's been weird and interesting. Hello, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. And let us know where you are joining from. We're on Instagram, Facebook, we're on YouTube. So let us know where you're joining from. But welcome. Thank you both. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome. So where God has been shifting so much of me, where he's been working with me to understand what my role has been, my role in every area of my life, the roles that I thought I needed to be, the roles that I thought I had to continue being, the roles that I didn't even know I had permission to be. I hope that makes sense. If you know, you know. And I'm having these conversations with my clients. This isn't for you if you're new in business. Like when you're in business the first year or two, you're focusing on messaging for sales. We're talking about something so different. We're talking about this next level of messaging, not only to elevate the operations and workflow and productivity and consistency in your business, but we're talking about also the message that aligns with that, that deeply connects with you. And I see so many of my clients who, like, the stories that you told when you first started in your business, they're different now. Some of them are outdated and you don't need to be using them and referring to them anymore. There was a time where, okay, I'm starting out in my business. I'm trying to figure out how to make money online. Can I even make money online? Can I really do that? And then stepping into a space of, oh, okay, I figured that out. Now what's the next level? And there continues to be next levels. And even for me going through the next level of what I was worth, what I am worth, what I always have been worth, right? But not always seeing that. And people see a confident person, they see a confident woman, they see a really independent woman, all these things. But again, if those are roles that you felt you had to be, whether it's you staying in survival mode, you not allowing yourself to have certain things, even though you say you want them, but then you don't understand, why am I not allowing myself to have them? Or where am I self-sabotaging, or all the things? There becomes a point where when we get to your business, right? This next level is not always about the strategy, right? It's actually your mindset. It's how you're seeing yourself. It's what you're allowing yourself to be, what you're allowing yourself to do, what you're allowing yourself to receive, right? What you're allowing yourself to let go of, boundaries you're creating, all the things. And so, yes, in the form of clients, that's a representation of other things in your life. So I have a couple YouTube videos where I've been talking about the quality of your clients. And clients and dating are similar. They're the same. Okay. Hello, I'm doing well. Thank you so much. Welcome. Let me know in the comments if you have been feeling off in your messaging, if you have been feeling disconnected. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't work. That's the thing. People think that they're doing their messaging over. They have to do a redo because something's not working. That's not always the case. I used to actually think that, oh yeah, you're working with me because your messaging doesn't work. Listen, you can go ahead and you can send me a private message. We have intensives where we work with individuals who are, building those brand, foundation messaging elements into their brand. So you can send me a private message for that. But my group programs, right, where we focus on supporting women who are already experienced, it's because there's a next level of the message, but the next level of the message is also a reflection of the next level of your voice. And in order for the next level of your voice to be shown and to speak out and to show up, you have to go through healing. So there's healing that you've been doing. There are stories that you've been shedding. There's parts of you that you realize, I don't have to be that anymore. I don't desire that anymore. Maybe I never desired that. Maybe that's who I thought I needed to be. And when it comes to Remessage, my brand new 3-week mini mastermind program that I want to invite you into, if this is resonating with you, you can actually go to re-message.com. So RE-MESSAGE.com. It will take you on over to the page where you can get all the details for the 3-week, mini mastermind, because remessaging doesn't have to be long. Remessaging, it's an activation. So this is a live experience where you're going to be working with me personally. And there's pre-work, there's trainings that are going to be available to you every week. There's also our live call where you're going to be getting hands-on personalized coaching and messaging consulting. There will be a mix of mindset and strategy, like I said. There will also be weekly messaging and content clinics, because there's a level of the mindset and the stories that you need to shift. Even the stories that you use. I want you to think about this for a second. What were the stories you were using in content on the stage, in your bio, on your About Me page in your website? What were those stories 5 years ago or 10 years ago? Or I've had clients who've been in business for 20 years, whatever that is for you. What were those stories 3 years ago? What were those stories 1 month ago, 1 year ago? Not only the stories, but also look at your method. what we're like, literally, I was talking to a client of mine. She's a pharmacist and she is a best-selling author. She is a speaker. She has a coaching program and does, and still works within the clinical industry. And we were talking about something, and for I think 5 years or so, she's been like really focused on one area of her business. And since joining our program, she's been expanding. And one of the things she was celebrating today was, we phrased it as, she's thinking bigger. She saw herself in one lane. She now sees 2 other lanes that she plays in, and not lanes like she's confusing people or she's trying to do something different. They all go back to her core, right? But it's actually like she's been evolving. She's been expanding what she really wants to be talking about and teaching. And then we realize, okay, wait, this connects with this, which connects with this. This is your signature method right here. It was never just this, but that's the capacity of which she could see. So it's not until you're doing that healing work. It's not until you're breaking through certain generational traumas, generational curses. It's not until you're having moments where you are crying to God. It's not until you're having tough conversations with people that you love. It's not until you make mistakes. It's not until you make mistakes in those journeys, because you're still trying to figure out, what does this look like for me? And what does this mean? And God, I'm trying to understand how you're delivering it to me. And I'm trying to explain it to somebody else. And I'm still trying to figure it out. There's a level of clarity I need within my God dang on self to be able to understand what's happening. And now to move forward to being able to process it as you're healing through it, and then get into a space where you are incorporating that into the next level of your brand message, of your sales and marketing messaging, of your content, of what you're going to be talking about in your YouTube. I just had a client of mine who let go of her podcast a couple years ago, and she's like, I'm ready to bring the podcast back. You will be made to sit down or to slow down or to feel really bored because you're like, oh, it's making me money, but I'm bored. So it's not that your message is off because you are not clear. That's not all the way true. It's actually you have evolved. That's why the message is outdated. You have become a deeper layer of who you are here to be. And the other thing I want to talk about too, that I'm super excited for us to work on in the program, is so many times we think that there's an end result. There's an end, and I can remember, like, for me going into therapy and wanting to work through things around my father, right? And the setback that I feel that my father has, the lack of my father's presence, the lack of a male's presence has had on me. And when I think about the next level of what I desire for my family and what I desire as a future mom, what I desire as a partner, as a wife, as a best friend, all these elements, right? Like what I desire in my home, you work through those things. And then there's things of my parent, my mother, who was present, always there. There were things that I saw that I said, oh, is that all that's available? Like when you're a woman, is that all that means? Is that all that equals? And so I have a YouTube video where I've talked about, that in my journey with even desiring motherhood, because what I saw from motherhood was very hard and was not joyful, and it didn't look fulfilling, and it just didn't look like something that I wanted. And so watching myself expand in that desire has been beautiful for me. And so, I think sometimes we are waiting for something to be perfect. Please give grace to the progress. Like, everybody has their different timelines. So somebody can go through something in 2 years, somebody can take 5 years, whatever that timing is going to be for someone, but you are on your journey with God, right? And so with that being said, I feel like there's times where, yes, we still need to process for sure and still need to heal. So you want to have that time to do that. But there are times where I see so many of my clients waiting to be fixed, waiting for it not to be broke, waiting to know all the things. And here's the thing, you're never going to stop growing. You are never going to stop growing. You're never going to stop expanding. Like, you're going to be 60 and 70 and 80, still learning different things, right? Not necessarily the same old thing, but you're going to be learning different things. You're going to be learning layers of yourself. I can't even look at things within, just women in my family. I can look at even men, right? I can see friends of mine, you know, themselves, their partners, all the things, who have been growing and just expanding. And it's just like, you're never going to be done growing. So when it comes to us, right, as business owners, speakers and authors and coaches and consultants, you are going to keep expanding. One, you're going to keep expanding because the people that you work with 5 years ago, the method that you used 5 years ago, the messaging that you used 5 years ago, those things are going to be different. Every time you work with a new batch of clients, every time you do a new batch of speaking gigs, every time you do a new batch of podcast episodes, every time you do a new batch of anything, you are going to learn new things that you didn't know before. You know, and that's going to be personally and professionally. So this program, I go back to like when I started this video and I was saying like, I feel so like, God, like, this program, this experience, it feels so heavy is not the word. It feels like, God, did you trust me with the responsibility of this? And I will tell y'all, in my healing journey, there are things, I thought I was a carefree person. And I know that to an extent I am. But man, oh man, I have a lot of fear in so many things. And you know what? I'm going to even share another story. So this is so funny. I totally wanted to do like a full YouTube video on this. Oh yeah, let me drop the link to 𝐕𝐻𝐍𝐄. So it's 𝐕𝐻𝐍𝐄. Give me a second, y'all. So 𝐕𝐻𝐍𝐄.com. So 𝐕-message, MESSAG.com. Let me get y'all too. Let me not forget about y'all. Hey, how are you? Let me see. Did I paste? Okay. So the link is there, 𝐕-message.com. And then for YouTube, I think I have to put it on after. So, which if you have questions for 𝐕𝐻𝐍𝐄, let me know. You also know my inbox is open to you. So you can certainly send me a message anytime. And if you are on YouTube, message me over on Instagram or Facebook at the Kiara Jones. So same name as the YouTube channel on Facebook or Instagram. So when we talk about healing, right, there's a couple things for me that I've been working through, but I was talking about fear. So I've always been someone who's looked at as like, you know, she's the smart one. And in my last therapy session, my therapist was talking about, we somehow started talking about my feminine cycle. But when was the first memory like that I got it? And so I was sharing with her, you know, the details of it. And I said, you know, she said like, oh, what did your mom do or say or whatever? And I was like, I don't know. And she was like, I mean, I assume she helped me, but like, I don't know. And then she was like, so you don't remember anything? I was like, no. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to ask my mom. So I, you know, asked my mom. And I was 11 years old. And so I asked my mother like over this weekend, and she is talking to me about, well, I'm sure I would have like explained it or something. And I was like, are you like, she's like, well, I mean, I think, I don't know. And then she said something like, I assumed you knew. And I was like, at 11 years old? And she was like, well, you were so inquisitive and so smart, and you saw me with it. And I said, well, just because I see you with it, one, I don't ever remember. Like, I don't know what you talking about. I saw you with it. I was not in the restroom with you applying stuff. I didn't necessarily know, oh, yup, mom is on her period this week or this day or whatever. So I'm like, why would you think that? And I said, did you ask me? And she's like, oh, I don't know. And so as we were like finishing talking, I wrote something down. And what I wrote down was, just because I was smart doesn't mean I still didn't need to learn, or doesn't mean you couldn't have taught me something. And then what I did tell her was, so you trust girls at my school, or, you know, the sex ed and all that type of stuff. Like, you trust that to teach me versus you? I'm not gonna leave that up to my kids. Mike and I gonna be sitting down. We're gonna be talking to them. I want to be responsible for educating you. I want you to know, certain things. So anyway, we were just talking about just like my body, me and my therapist, and so that came up. And so just creating identifying from childhood these different things that have created who I am and who I've who I've thought I needed to be. And so when I think about my business, right, because if you don't think that all of this equates back to how you do things in your relationship, to how you do things in your home, to how you do things in your business, in all the areas. And so for me, realizing, I try to explain this to people, but they don't be understanding. I didn't have the luxury of, this is my experience. I did not have the luxury of someone helping me. So when there have been times in my business with my team, in my relationship, like it's something as simple as Mike made the best pancakes. He makes the best pancakes. And, he sometimes says, babe, like, do you really think I can cook like that? Like that type of thing. And I'm like, yeah, it's something as simple as that. It can be the simplest thing for you, but you don't know what it means for somebody else because you're not that other person. It can be, my friend, Brittany, my best friend, we were talking about this yesterday, she has a new laptop and she's like, oh, I gotta learn this new laptop. And so I'm like, girl, you know how I feel when I had to get a new phone. Mike is like, get a new phone. I'm like, I don't want to. And it's like, for somebody, it's just a new phone. For a client of mine, it's just a video. To me, I'm like, just do a video. I've done thousands of them. I currently have 3 going right now at one time. But there becomes this point where you realize the smallest thing can carry fears that are crazy to other people, but they're real to you. So, and then other people make it mean something about them, and they don't realize it has nothing to do with you. God has me on a journey with this trigger, and I am working with him to help me break through it and figure it out and all the things. And so when I equate that back to my business, over the last 2 years, I would say, I am so proud of myself and how I utilize my team support. There was a time, I remember having my first VA in 2017. Y'all, I didn't know what to give her. I didn't know how to use her. I was just, because to me, it felt like I was using her and I felt bad and I could do it myself and all these things, because that's how I grew up, And so when you just constantly are in a space where you always have to handle something, it's very, very difficult to let someone else do it. As much as they're asking you to, it can be very hard. And so in my business, that's how it felt. So to realize the last, I was on a team call for 38 minutes yesterday. And then we had a strategy call today. And then we also had the money in the message call today, which was awesome. Watching myself, allow myself to be supported, it's incredible. And so when you think about your next level, I want to be a mother. How am I going to be a mom? And I'm sitting here thinking I have to do every single thing myself. How that's going to work? That's not going to work. Or, excuse me, it's going to burn you out, which was my fear. My fear was, okay, I want this, but I also want this and I want this. So how do I merge them all together? You're going to have to, 1, let some things go, and then 2, and prioritize things, and then see where do I need to ask for help? Where do I need to receive help? But if you already have a complex around receiving help, that's not going to work. So to be in a space where over the last 2 years, really, really experiencing this, but especially the last 14 months, with us going to YouTube, we adding 2 team members to support me, and having team members where they're involved day to day. That is actually new for me, and not new because I didn't always have it, new because I wouldn't use it. And I see so many things maybe 2 weekends ago, we got back from the cruise. And so I did laundry the day we got back from the cruise. I didn't even feel good, y'all. I did not feel good. But I had this, I wanted to take care of my home. So I pushed myself. So we drove home from Brooklyn. And as soon as we got in the house, my sister-in-law was still here. And I was like, you sit right there. I'm about to put my stuff in the laundry. And so I did like 3 loads of laundry, and I forgot about it. Like I said, I wasn't feeling the best that day. And, you know, you're getting back into the groove of things. So I just left it there. So it wasn't until the following Sunday, last Sunday, I came downstairs and I was like, I brought the new 2 loads of laundry, and I'm like, oh my God, I had 3 loads of laundry down there. I completely forgot about it. So now I got 5 loads of laundry to put away. And I also wanted to like change our sheets and stuff like that. And so Mike just started helping me. And it's little things like that. Like sometimes I don't always tell him, but like sometimes when I do, he's like, I don't understand why it's a big deal. And it's just like, thank you for helping me. I didn't even know to ask for help. I didn't even feel like I could ask for help. But it's also, so for me, the lesson on that was receiving it. Like not saying, no, I got it, or like whatever, just like, okay, thank you. Thank you, babe. That's so sweet. Or even like I feel he cooks like meats better. I'm a sides girl. He cooks the meats really good. So, you know, I really enjoy him cooking. And then sometimes he's a little finicky. But he's a chef. He's a chef at heart. So he's like, you know, when it comes to food. So sometimes I'm like, babe, you just cook, because like, you know exactly what you want or whatever and everything. And so on the weekend, I'm like, all right, well, let me make, you know, breakfast. And so I had made breakfast Saturday, and so he made breakfast Sunday. But even in that, I was like, oh, maybe I should make breakfast Saturday and Sunday, because, you know, he helps cook like during the week, all that type of stuff. And so it's like, you think about those things, but cooking brings him joy too. And actually one Sunday, y'all, it was a football Sunday. And so he usually cooks on Sunday, and he's like, what are you doing? Can you get out the kitchen? And I'm like, how dare you? You're trying to push me out? That's not nice. I actually wanted to cook a dinner for you because I associate, I am a woman and I'm supposed to cook Sunday dinner, and I want to cook something nice. But I actually really just wanted to cook something nice. And he's like, no, babe, Sunday is when I cook for you. And I don't think it was until, this was like maybe a year or 2 ago, but I don't think it was until like I heard him and I really sat with I went away and I like sat down and I was thinking about what he said. And I was like, that's a part of his love language, is like he enjoys cooking. Like he cooks every family, every time his family gets to our family gets together on his side, and like my family, we tend to like everybody makes a dish, but like in Mike's family, like Mike usually cooks. And so anyway, that's his love language. And I realized that his mom devoured his food this weekend. He made tacos. She loves them. She had more tacos than any of us. And that's how he shows his love, you know, like, and I've just started to realize that more and more. And I'm like, why am I like, that's a part of his joy. Yeah. And you know, so the other, and then my joy is like stocking up certain things in the house. And like, you know, I pretty much cover like buying, you know, the things you need, like toilet tissue and stuff like that. And y'all, I was proud of myself because we needed 2 things, pancake mix and cornstarch, and they were out. And I was like, dang it. And then I realized I had already bought extra, and I was like, I'm quite proud of myself, like making sure, do we have the supplies? And then like he's all, you know, he's like, babe, do we got him on paper plates? I'm like, yeah, I bought like a pack of 200 or something inside the garage. So anyway, just realizing the ways that both of us love to show, like, these are just the things that like gravitate to us, I guess, or how we show love language. So anyway, just like processing things like that. I'm showing you all those different examples, but they all connect back to something. They all connect. A part of it is support and help and receiving. And it's not the big things. I used to think it was such the big things in relationships and friendships and even in business, and realizing it's the small things sometimes. It's the small things, and you can expand your capacity of abundance by paying attention to those things. Because if you can't even sit and be grateful for what you do have right now, why is God gonna bless you with more? And so me realizing like, oh, I would love to live, you know, down south, and I love to do this, and I love to live here, and you can do those things. There's nothing wrong with that. But I also felt this level of like, man, now I've gotten to a place where I'm like, I really enjoy my home. Mike and I have gotten a switch. I probably enjoy my home too much. And I also realized too, it goes back to me being a little girl and like the safetyness and like finally feeling like I feel safe and I want to sit here for a minute. Can you just let me breathe and just like sit here? I just want to sit like right below where I'm sitting downstairs. That's one of my favorite places. I like sitting by that couch by the window. Jax does too. I don't know who told him he could share my spot. He took the spot from Junior anyway. But it's like I having tea right there and just sitting there. And like I just sit there in the morning and it's just a thing for me. And I just realized like there's a safetyness and just wanting to be still. And like so much of my life is like go, 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 move, 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 brain, brain, brain. I'm like, I just want to sit here for a moment, you know, and yeah, so it's really beautiful why like come into a space of enjoying like soft moments and slow moments and being present and like seeing where that equates in business, where in business it's like how can we do things simpler, which I know they're connected. You know, as I step into new phases of my life, you know, this last year has been how can we set things up to be more automated, less manual? We're using 5 systems for this. This is stupid. We should move over to this one system and let all those go, which is what we are in the middle of. And I'm excited and it's cool to like be in the back end and I'm learning, you know, me and technology, not the best of friends. So, you know, just going through the learning curve and all that. And it's a new space and system and all the things, but it's really cool. Like, okay, we're shifting things. You know, going from, I used to do live streams all the time in my business to like, we want to move over to YouTube. This is going to be more sustainable. It's going to be evergreen. You know, when I become a mother, I may not be able to do 10,000 live streams in a week. So let's go ahead and, you know, get into the rhythm of the core content that we need going on YouTube so we can use that long term and all the things. And then even today, what the strategy meeting was about was strategizing elements of our, like redoing parts of our funnel to even to support the YouTube even better and all the things too. So it's like cool. And sometimes you need to have those moments where you're like still and slow so that you can see, wait a minute, why am I prioritizing this over that? This doesn't make sense. Why are we doing it that way? Like, or whatever that is. And so it's like a million things in my brain, but I know that when I think about what it's going to set me up for, it just, it's beautiful and I'm excited and, all the things. So this is just a part of my re-message story, because then what happens in my program is we're talking more about my clients' workflows and their productivity around their messaging and content creation. The fact that messaging is supposed to be pre-selling people for you anyway to help you reduce this the length of the speed, to help speed up sales, right? Get you pre-qualified people who are pre-sold, who are ready to go quicker. And seeing my clients and their wins and everything that they are experiencing is so beautiful, and talking about the next level of how they're wanting to show up and speak and, you know, all the things. And so again, you're an experienced woman entrepreneur. You are an expert. You're amazing at what you do. That's not the question. It's not that your messaging is outdated because of clarity necessarily. There are clarity elements for sure, but to an extent, you could put out what you have. You could keep making money from it, but there's this level within you that has expanded and evolved. And so for me, I would have never 5 years ago, never, ever talked about, let's do this in the least complicated way. Now I'm like, listen, what is the least complicated way that we can do this? Whether, you know, I have clients who are moms, you know, or whether you are not a mom and you're just like, listen, I'm at a place in my sanity where I don't want to operate that way. There's just so many things in my life where I had to do things the hard way just because that was what was available, you know, for me. And, seeing where I held on to that and just like working to break through that, and seeing where little bits and pieces where it's like, okay, I see progress. It's, you know, it's really, really cool. And so to then bring that in to be a part of your story where you are putting it in your videos, you're putting it in your content, and you're getting messages and, you know, DMs, and, you know, you're getting people who are booking calls. Like, I saw your video where you talked about this. And this is also, obviously this is a part of your storytelling strategy, but this is also a part of, storytelling strategy and also your brand building, but your relatability, right? I can distinctly remember years ago having people respond back to an email that I sent out about having a Chevy Equinox. And they were like, I have a Chevy Equinox, or like, I have a Shih Tzu, or I dealt with the same thing with my mother, or I dealt with the same thing in my journey of trying, of like, I want to have this type of life. I want to have this softness, and I want to feel safe, and I want that so bad. And I've been in therapy and I've been working for it, and like, to hear you talking about it, or whatever it is, it's like, it's beautiful, you know. Some have told Kira, I had this thing with my boobs where I felt so uncomfortable. So it's just really, really beautiful to watch. And excuse me, let me step back. It's really not even watch, yes, but it's really beautiful to realize that there's a layer of your messaging that's going to have the strategy elements, which is what we're going to be diving into. We're going to do some in week 1, also in week 2, around expanding your value and leveraging the next level message to reinforce your value, to support you in charging more rate for your prices, and calling in the bigger clients, and reducing your speed of sales, and exploring who that next level client is. So those are going to be strategy elements that we are definitely bringing in, right? But there are these powerful elements in the embodiment of your next level voice, in escaping old stories and embracing your more evolved voice, that are going to be in realigning, right, in your message, and reconnecting elements of your growth, right, with things that your client is experiencing and going through. And that's where you're able to connect with them deeper. So there's points where like women are like, oh my God, I know you're amazing at messaging, and you resonate with me because of this. And together, I am ready. You're my person. There's a person over there who just does messaging, but they don't have the stories like this, or they don't have that, or I don't relate to them like this, or whatever that is. And so understanding that you get to infuse both is the next level permission that you get to use, you get to give yourself, and you don't have to feel like you can't bring that into your brand. We're going to show you how to strategically do that and infuse that into your storytelling, while also still serving and selling more powerfully than you have over the last couple of years, right? And so really seeing yourself fully in the authority of who you are, and still bringing in those human elements that allow your clients and your audience to really connect with you in a more aligned way. So definitely a mix of mindset and strategy for sure. So if you have been sending me a DM message, if you've been sending me a DM message, I am going to be checking my messages once I'm done with this. And I didn't even realize what time it is. So getting ready to wind down and unwrap. But yes, send me a message if you have questions. If you want more information and details about Remessage, my 3-week live mastermind experience for experienced women who have been expanding, you've been evolving, and it's time for your message to catch up. Your messaging is not outdated because of a lack of clarity. It is you evolving. And so we want to tap into what those stories are, what those shames are. We're going to be diving into mindset in the first. There's going to be pre-work you're going to be going through. If you are a VIP, there's 2 different levels. There's a general experience, and there's also a VIP experience. You're going to have opportunities to get a premium positioning audit, a content performance audit. So that's me looking at your messaging so that you can, be infusing these things for some of you even before we start, right? If you're joining, which you do want to join this week, the price does go up by a couple $100 next week. So you want to definitely join this week. You can join at re-message.com. And so we'll be diving into the pre-work. You'll be having that. We'll be going into embodying your next level voice so that you can escape those stories. And then, really diving into, like I said, what those stories and those shames are, how to infuse that into your storytelling strategy while still selling, boo-boo, because you can do both, okay? And really breaking through what imposter energy do you have coming up around that next level client you want to serve. And I didn't talk about this in this video. I was going to do another video, but I said earlier, what were the stories that you told? Like, what were the examples you used? What were the client testimonials that you used back then? Those are all different now. You have different clients, right? We were just talking about that in the Money in the Message call today. We have clients in Money in the Message that have been in business 12 years, 5 years, 3 years. So you have clients who've experienced things in working with you, right? And so you want to refresh those things. That's what we were talking about specifically, because I believe in turning testimonials into transactions. It's a whole concept that we teach and we work on. We were actually doing it in last week's call as well. It's one of my clients' favorites. We usually do that a couple times a month, but helping clients understand like how to take your testimonials and turn them into more transactions and how to clone clients and all the things. So, you know, we're going to be diving into some strategy elements. But that week 1 is really setting the tone with the embodiment of the next level message, and really what's coming up for you that makes you feel like you can't go all in on focusing on the next level client. That was actually something one of our members celebrated today. I just thought about that. She was celebrating giving herself permission. She wanted to go into this higher level audience, and you know, she had gotten even professional advice that she shouldn't, and for all the different things, but it never left her. And so coming into Money in the Message, working with me, she gave herself that permission, and she was like, it's like things just started to click, you know. And it's just so beautiful. I was using the analogy of when you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I have 10 different people, and I'm going to talk to this person and this person and this person. I'm going to make a video for this person and this person. I'm going to make content for this person, this person. That's a part of why you're burnt out. And if we go back to the story I was telling y'all, right? Healing will help you see, where do I have this complex that makes me feel like I need to be everything to everybody? And how do I let that go? Because that's not serving me. Okay. And so breaking through, letting that go, and getting to a place of, oh my goodness, I am so excited to focus on this person and serve this person and show up for this person, etc. Is really, really beautiful. And yeah, it was beautiful. I'm just thinking of her breakthrough. It was really beautiful. And watching her just continue to expand and all the things. So that is actually leading us into week 2, where we go dive into like expanding your visibility, exploring deeper your client, that client intimacy that I talk about, and doing a couple exercises there. So every week there is some training, but actually exercise. So like this is a space to reignite you, to reactivate, to refine, right? To step into realignment, but this is also action as well. So you're going to be taking what we're doing and putting it out and coming in and getting support. And so each week we have our call. Each week we have, you'll get access to a training and like messaging prompts from the Money in the Message method, my signature program, my signature method. And then we also will have a clinic where you can actually submit content, submit messaging to be reviewed, right? And I will be creating a video with like details of like, here's what I would tweak, here's what I would change, all that type of stuff. So live calls, the clinic access, coaching in between, and more. So head over to Remessage. So re-message.com. Okay. You can also go to kiarajones.com/remessage if that makes it easier as well. But yes, I'm so excited to open this. This has been on my heart. This has felt so big for me, and wanting to like literally redefine messaging. So that's why we're remessaging. Remix, remessage, remix, remessage. Okay, so I am going to go. I am sending y'all so much love. If you have a biz bestie, a mastermind sister, an accountability brother, brother from another mother, but accountability buddy, that you know could benefit from this message, could utilize this message, I would love if you would go ahead and send it over to them. And I would love to see you also inside of Remessage. I would love to support you. I would love to hold space for you. If you have a question, I don't care how small you think it is, go ahead and shoot me a DM over on Facebook. It's the quickest, also Instagram. And I would love to just support you if you, have something coming up and you're interested. All right. So make sure you send this video to a biz bestie, mastermind sister, or accountability buddy who you know needs to hear it. And until next time, love, shine, and success. Bye, everybody. I will talk to y'all soon. All right. So let's end that. And then thank you so much for joining to everyone that is here. Let's go ahead and clean these bots up. All right, cool. All right, re-message.com. See y'all soon.